You mentioned that through your duties, and the Marine Corps specifically, as you inform them, you then stay with that family throughout the process until the body is delivered and even beyond that. Can you talk about some of the relationships that you personally formed?
Oh, I sure. It might take a little longer than you have. I have lifelong relationships with these families now. They're basically my extended family. I see them all the time, almost all of them. I was with 3 families 2 weeks ago, back in Colorado. I'm currently stationed in D.C. now, but I get back to Colorado as often as I can. I'm going to be holding some different ceremonies again for other families this fall. So I'm going to be meeting other families I've never known that will become part of my extended family as well, because these people mean a great deal to me. I think that they should mean and do mean a great deal to this country, and they deserve our care. And as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna hold them in my hands as long as I can. So,
well, it sounds like this duty has had a deep impact on you. Can you talk about how it's personally changed you? I'm sorry, sir. I ask, it sounds like you're extremely dedicated to the work that you've done and how the effect that it's had on you. Can you talk about the changes?
Okay, yeah, I can. Your first question was broken up, I think, just from the web, but I haven't talked about this before, but I have thought about it since you asked, and I've thought about this question on a number of occasions. And so I'm going to tell you something that, part of me, part of what drives me is, I've trained for many, many years to go go with my Marines on the missions this nation called us to do. God and this country called me to do this instead while I sent Marines into harm's way. And some of the most incredible people on the planet are service members serving overseas of all the different services, and I'm so proud of them. But for me, not being there with them, as with all Marines, it's a very difficult thing. If Marines are in harm's way, Marines want to be there with them. And so that was challenging for me. I had to reconcile that. One of the ways I reconcile that is I say, well, I'm going to make sure that those I train are fully prepared for their mission, and as best as I can get them there. And then if someone comes home and they don't come home healthy, I'm going to take care of them. And if someone comes home that's been killed, I'm going to care for their families. So for me, that's how it changed me. I mean, actually not going with them refocused all of my energies as a Marine into those other activities. And if I find myself in Iraq or Afghanistan, great, so be it. But right now, my mission has been to support these families, to support their loved ones, to support their extended families, and make sure that they know that I'm here for them.
Sir, being a Marine myself, I can definitely agree with you that sometimes the Marine Corps lacks compassion, and it's the hard way or no way. And this definitely, I think, hearing your story opens eyes to just how real it is when things like this hit home. From this, I know you've gone above and beyond what the Corps has asked you to do and started your own organization. Can you talk about that?
Well, I volunteer for an organization called Remembering the Brave. I did start it. I can't speak of it as a Marine necessarily. The government doesn't support this organization necessarily. It's a standard nonprofit. I started it because of I was sitting across the table from Betty Welke, Joe Welke's mother. Joe was with 3-1.
Yes.
And I was actually having a very frank discussion with her about the way medals, posthumous medals were presented, and getting a complete set of medals for the family.
Yeah.
Traditionally, we all know that young Marine or older Marine that knows how to mount medals and takes care of people. But that's other young Marines forking out their money, trying to get that done. And you know as well as I do, a simple Purple Heart's $35 just by itself. And so when you start adding all that up, it comes up to a great deal of money if you need to get them mounted and presented to a family. And so she told me, basically, she said, well, fix it. And I'm not accustomed to telling Gold Star mothers no. I'm typically saying yes, ma'am, every time. And so that was the power behind starting Remembering the Brave. And so for me, it was about making sure this country didn't forget who these men were, and these men and women, and what they did for us, what their actual deeds were. I mean, you did a poll. I guarantee you, 90% of Americans, maybe more, have never heard a Silver Star citation. They don't know what actions are taken to actually have a young person receive a Bronze Star, let alone a Silver Star. And so for me, I hold these ceremonies. We fly in service members that serve with their son or daughter to be involved in the ceremony. It might be the first time that family's actually been able to meet that mother or father or widow of their or husband of their friend, and those bonds are created. The first ceremony we held, at the end of the night, I look back on it, and it wasn't the medals, it wasn't the flowers, it wasn't the speeches, it was the service members that we accidentally, in an afterthought, brought to the ceremony to sit with them all weekend. That was the most powerful thing. So not only are they carrying a heavy cross of their own, of survivor's guilt, but bringing them with the families and putting them together creates a bond that just doesn't get broken after that. And it helps them both heal, helps the family heal, and it helps those service members who are carrying that heavy cross as well. And so that's what we're doing. I'm holding a ceremony in San Diego October 25th, and another one in Colorado November 15th. And I'm starting a new physical and virtual hallofheroes.org is going to start on Veterans Day. We're going to pick that up, and it's going to tell their stories in a virtual way, and we're going to create a memorial, because it took this nation 50 years to get around to building a World War II memorial. We're not going to let that happen this time. I'm going to try to fill the gap while the nation decides what we're going to do for these young heroes.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for being here with us in the studio today. The work you're doing with the Marine Corps and the initiative you're taking outside the uniform to ensure that these men are recognized and that their families get their full appreciation. Thanks for being a part of In Their Boots today, sir, and we salute you in the work that you do. Hoorah.
Thank you. Thank you. Hoorah. Hey, one thing I want to make a point, though. It's for all services. This is a joint thing.
Yes, sir.
This, Remembering the Brave is across the services. So
okay.
Last ceremony in Colorado Springs was 39 families from all services to include the National Guard. So.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll be sure to send them to our solutions page where they can find a link to Remembering Heroes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.